Welcome back to Limitless Sports with Brennan and Dave. We are eclipsing show number 10 this morning. Cannot believe we made it this far, Brennan.
10 shows, and it's impressive. I didn't think we were going to make it this far.
I didn't either, but we're rolling this morning. Back in the studio trying to get our 10th show, and then we will take a little bit of a break, and we'll talk about that later on at the end of the show this morning. So, we're going to cover a bunch of different topics today with the Super Bowl recap, NFL season recap. We're going to make a bold prediction to see who's going to win the Super Bowl next year.
Way too early Super Bowl prediction.
Way too early. And we're going to talk about the Steelers making a big splash hire yesterday. So, let's go ahead and jump in. Initial reaction, Brennan, from the Super Bowl last week.
It's kind of what you expected. I don't think you expected it to be as low scoring maybe as what it was.
Agreed.
43 points, kind of low. I think we were both right around like that 52 mark, 53.
I said about
54.
40. I was like 47, 48.
So you were right around that. I said a little bit over. A lot of questionable plays, a lot of questionable play calling.
Mm-hmm.
Officiating was not the best. I think those guys refed their first and last Super Bowl.
Let's talk about that real quick. So, they let a lot of things go in the first half, first three quarters, and then they finally decided to call it in the fourth quarter.
2-3 minutes left.
And, I mean, it shows in a way, like, in my opinion, the NFL can be seen as a fixed league.
Oh, you definitely think it's a fixed product when it comes down to crunch time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's get the obvious one out of the way first. The long ball to Higgins to start the second half.
Horrific call.
Face mask. Ramsey kind of slips on the play. I see where some people are getting at that. But he still grabs the face mask and holds on to it for at least 2 full seconds.
Well, see, here's my problem with the situation. So, that's a whole, and me being a baseball umpire, I can kind of see why it wasn't called. The guy's behind that play.
Mm-hmm.
He can't see Ramsey getting that face mask. But the guy out in behind the secondary, the guy deep,
should be able to see that.
And that's where I'm upset, is that guy should have called it. Of course, the sideline guy is not seeing that. Because he's going to see Ramsey slip a little bit. But, and just, I don't know. I mean, there were a lot of holds going on. There were a lot of missed. I mean, if you even look at the last play in the game, Aaron Donald was offsides.
Oh, you also look at it, too. There was too many Bengals in the backfield.
Right.
I mean...
And there was one play where, I think it was a Bengal that jumped completely offsides on offense, and they didn't even call it.
And a lot of people, too, are this week, people I work with, people I've been talking to, are bitching about Samaje Perine being in the game on 4th and 1. He's the pass-catching back. He has the best chance to hold on to the football. And I love Joe Mixon.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe Mixon does get a few catches a game, not a lot, but Perine is the pass-catching back. It's how they were when they were at Oklahoma.
Yep.
It's how they were, here in Cincinnati.
Well, and he's the best blocking back.
That, too, and that's what I'm trying to tell people, Mixon's not the best at picking up blocking or picking up the blitz.
And I could see that, too. Like, I could see the frustrations of some people because Joe Mixon is clearly the best running back on the team. He wouldn't be the number one if he wasn't the number one.
Right.
But, I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of crazy play calling that both sides did. And even for that play, I don't know. It frustrates me.
From what I saw, and this is going back to Cincinnati's first touchdown of the game, when Mixon threw, I think it was like a 6 or 7 yard pass.
That was awesome.
That was a great play. He was the 5th non-quarterback to throw a touchdown in the Super Bowl. So that's delicacy.
Right.
And me and you have seen 3 of them. Mixon, Burton, and Brandwell.
Right.
So, from what that play told me, is Zach Taylor, and I can't remember who Cincinnati's offensive coordinator is.
It's basically Zach Taylor.
Basically said, the day after the AFC Championship, we're not blocking these guys. We got to out-trick them. Mm-hmm. We got to out-talent them a little bit.
But they didn't do it the whole game.
They didn't do it the whole game. I mean, why? Because the Rams kind of figured it,
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be trick plays, end arounds, reverses, flea flickers. They didn't run any of those, but that would have been a damn good call.
I mean, and I'm looking at the stat lines now. I mean, they had no, real receiver end arounds.
if you look at
Chase
this,
had 1 carry for 4 yards.
if you look at this Super Bowl, all LA's superstars played great. Stafford, right down the stretch when it counted.
2 interceptions.
Cup. Hey, when it was crunch time, who played great?
Oh, I agree.
Cup, great game.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Donald, great game. Von Miller, great game.
OBJ, great game until he tore his ACL.
Exactly. And you know what? I think if he didn't go down, I think it was early in the second quarter.
Something like that. That game wouldn't have been as close.
That game would have been an ass whooping.
Mm-hmm.
And, we wouldn't probably even be talking about it that much today. It probably would have been just about as last year's when Tampa romped KC.
Let's jump into that conversation point right there. I was not impressed by Sean McVay when OBJ went down. He couldn't do anything. Like, he had that whole offensive game plan around OBJ's number 2. Which, in my opinion...
Because if you started watching that game first quarter, that whole game plan was going through Odell Beckham Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on pace for well over 100 yards, even close to 200, and probably 2 or 3 scores.
Right. I mean, he only had 2 catches for 52 yards.
3 targets, right. And the third one's the one he blew out his knee on.
My frustration in the fact of, yes, you don't have your tight end, Higbee.
But I'll tell you what, that backup stepped up and played great.
He did.
That looks bright for the Rams, next year having two tight ends. Mm-hmm.
He's a young kid. I was not impressed. He couldn't make adjustments. Cincinnati was stopping the run very well. They played great up front. Sam Hubbard played great. Henderson played great. The linebackers played great. Eli Apple just lost the game for him, but I don't know. I just wasn't. It was a very one-trick pony offense once OBJ went down. It was get the ball at Cup, get the ball at Cup.
Well, I think Cup, 4 out of his 8 catches came in the final drive.
Right.
Which, that was just, we know you can't stop this guy, so we're going to force feed him the football any way we can get it to him. And he had that rush for 7 yards, too. No one's even talking about that. That was 4th down, I think.
Right.
That was really the play of the game. But, like I just said, if you looked at all LA's superstars, great games.
100%.
You look at Joe Burrow,
So
Joe Mixon, the only really player they had was T. Higgins. If you take T. Higgins out of that whole game, they got nothing.
Chase played well.
He
had that one big catch.
Yeah,
But also, you look at...
But he didn't make any game, whoa plays like we've seen from him all year.
Okay, but let's go after that, though. I don't think T. Higgins played that great of a game.
I did 4 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. They go down and score that game. They go down and score a win.
Take that catch out that technically shouldn't have happened. 75 yards.
I know, but you still can't take it out because it actually counted.
But I'm just saying, though, was he truly playing a good game, though? He was targeted 7 times. He got the ball 4. I don't think a lot of
that's still
players,
over 50%. 100 yards, 2 scores in the Super Bowl. It doesn't happen often.
I just don't think a lot of their players played well.
Depending on what happened the rest of that drive, and they win, he's the Super Bowl MVP. If he has one more catch for 25 yards, maybe even 15.
If I'm the Rams,
5 catches, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns. Shit.
And if I lost that game, if I lost that game based on that one call, I would have been so livid.
Mm-hmm.
But so let's dive into your Joe Burrow talk a little bit. My issue with him is he has no offensive line.
No, and you know what? Me and you know the whole story behind Joe Burrow. Only loses 1 playoff game his whole career. I think it was his senior year, state championship. Triple A state championship.
I was there. And he threw for 500 yards in that game.
And he played a perfect game. Played lights out.
Oh, yeah. He was just balling. Their defense
Ever
sucked.
since then, the story is there's no moment too big for me. Didn't play really much at Ohio State. Maybe he stepped in a couple times.
Because he broke his hand. Mm-hmm. What year was that? My junior year?
So that would have been, his freshman year?
No. He redshirted my sophomore year. And then...
So that would have been his redshirt freshman year.
Junior, I think it might have been his... I don't remember because it was the year that Dwayne was there as a freshman. Dwayne beat him out because Joe broke his hand. But anyway, I mean, yes.
I mean, so I watched all this time to LSU. Didn't won a Fiesta Bowl over a UCF team that was projected to beat them and beat them bad.
Right.
Beat them. Goes to the playoff the next year. Has the best season. Mm-hmm. Goes into Tuscaloosa. Breaks an 8-year skid. Losing to Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Goes in. Beats them. Tosses 60 touchdowns. Goes to the playoff. Beats a loaded Oklahoma team. Beats them bad, too.
Mm-hmm.
Then goes to the championship and beats a loaded Clemson team.
Oh.
Doubles them up, pretty much.
Yep. I still... Thinking about that game,
so me holding him to a different standard is because I'm a Joe Burrow fan. You know, he's not my number one guy, but I'm a fan of Joe Burrow, and I like Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think he deserves everything that comes his way. You know, with the endorsements, the talent, you know, the awards, the Super Bowls, whatever comes his way, I think he totally deserves. But when you're one of my guys, I hold you to a different standard.
I agree. My issue though is just like, I mean, you look at his stat line: 22 for 33, 263 and a score.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't force an interception. But I think all of his problems are the offensive line. I think if you fix that, in my opinion, he could be 100% better of a quarterback.
Well, yeah, and you know what? Like I said, you know, before we got on the air here, the last 16 quarterbacks who lost their Super Bowl debut never made it back. And there's some good ones on that list. Let me pull up my phone here.
Jimmy G.
Let me pull up. Jimmy G. Not the best quarterback, a good quarterback.
Game manager.
Matt Ryan, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan's going to make the Hall of Fame.
That's debatable.
Matt Ryan will make the Hall of Fame.
It's debatable.
His numbers are...
He can't win a game.
Doesn't matter. His numbers are fantastic. He's made it to the playoffs a lot.
Maybe. We'll talk about that later.
Cam Newton, good quarterback.
Yeah, Cam's never made it back.
Then you look at Matt Hasselbeck. Matt Hasselbeck was a good quarterback for the Seahawks all those years.
He was before the game changed. Yeah, he wouldn't be good right now.
McNabb, good quarterback.
McNabb, yeah.
Jake Delhomme. A lot of people love Jake Delhomme. You know, really.
I love Jake Delhomme.
Gunslinger.
Good gunslinger, yes.
Let's keep looking here. Air McNair. A lot of people love Air McNair.
Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. And then you have some other guys, Drew Bledsoe, Neil O'Donnell, you know. But I mean, there's some big names on that list that never made it back.
Here's where I want to see a lot of things, and this is in terms for both teams for next year that played in this game. Aaron Donald put the gauntlet down. He said he's back if OBJ and Von Miller get back.
I think they're going to try to make it happen. Von Miller has pretty much said he really didn't want to leave Denver. But, you know, he wanted to win at least one more time. But he said he wants to finish his career with the LA Rams. How long is that going to be? I don't know. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, maybe the max.
Can they financially handle it?
And then OBJ is going to take less money because he planned on balling out in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And he did for the first quarter.
Well, and I think they're going to save money because he just tore his ACL.
Exactly.
Who's going to want to sign him right now?
So next year they're going to have Kupp, Woods, OBJ. You're going to get Higbee back. The other tight end, what was his last name again? Hopkins. He's going to be a bigger role next year.
Cam Akers will be fully healthy.
They're probably going to try to bring Sony Michel back.
That's the thing. If they can figure out how to bring 85% of those players back, they can be back in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you also look at the landscape in the NFC. It's wide open.
Oh, it is. You know, I think you have...
Depends on what Green Bay does.
I think right now in the NFC, I'm going to rule out Green Bay because from what I'm hearing, Aaron Rodgers is pretty much gone. He doesn't care about who they just hired.
I don't know.
I think it's the Rams, and then Dallas, and then pretty much everybody else.
I just can't put my...
You know, who knows what's going to happen right now with Kyler Murray. You know, he's very distraught with the Arizona Cardinals. It says he really doesn't want to be there. That it's all play and no work.
That's where I don't see, like, Aaron wanting to go to the AFC. Like, I look at the NFC and be like, I can go to any team here that needs a quarterback and freaking compete.
But, I mean, like, look at the AFC. And this is why I'm saying...
Why would you go to the AFC? I would not. The AFC is loaded. I wish the Steelers could go to the NFC for a year.
And like I said before, I love Joe Burrow, but let's look at the AFC with all these young quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Mac Jones, Lamar Jackson.
Overrated, sorry.
Trevor Lawrence,
yeah,
Deshaun Watson.
I have a theory about him in a minute. We'll talk about it.
I mean, the AFC is loaded with quarterbacks. Loaded. And, New England might not ever get back there, but New England's going to, Bill Belichick's going to figure it out because he's pissed. Still, Brady went there 1 year, won it.
But so we're kind of dwelling into the NFL season recap and kind of mixing both topics.
Yeah.
Which is okay. But,
and then imagine if Rodgers or Wilson come to the AFC.
Well, right. Here's the AFC picture for me. Cincinnati could be back in there. I think they're still my favorite to win the North next year. If they fix their offensive line. They need to spend literally their first 3 draft picks on offensive linemen.
That or they need to just go into free agency and say, hey, you're coming with us. We'll give you whatever you want. But
wouldn't you want that low? If you're an offensive lineman that wants to win, and you're like, yeah, let me go change his offensive line. I will go fix this for them. I would want that.
I mean, let's flash back 20 years now. The Brady era in New England lasted 20 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
In 20 seasons with Brady in New England, they went to 9 Super Bowls?
Too many.
All the other quarterbacks in the AFC, Manning with the Colts, made it to 4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Colts/Broncos made it to 4. Roethlisberger with the Steelers only made it to 3.
Right.
Phillip Rivers, who was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, made it to none.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm thinking, I love Joe Burrow, but, it's still Cincinnati. They always zig when they should zag. And they lose guys.
Well,
the ownership there is not good, apparently.
Here's the thing. Can they keep all 3-headed monster in the receiving corps?
I don't think so.
Can they keep Boyd?
I don't think so.
Because I don't think Boyd wants to be the number 3.
I don't think so. I think they'll lose Higgins first, because Boyd signed that new contract a couple years ago.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm. I think it was a 3 or 4 year deal he signed or whatever, but they'll lose Higgins, and it'll be Boyd who, when he's a little bit older, and then you'll have Chase still right around the prime of his career.
And they have nothing behind the 3.
And they have nothing behind them. And that, Joe Burrow's fun to watch. He's a good quarterback. He's a good leader.
I love just his cockiness.
He's a likable person.
I love his cockiness.
Well, caught up to him finally on Sunday.
I want to see what they can do in the offseason. Can they take the Kansas City approach and retool the offensive line completely?
Let's hope. For Joe Burrow's sake, let's hope.
They don't really need to do much on the defensive side of the ball if everyone came back. Maybe get a corner. The linebacking core is fine. Their up front 4 is fine. I don't know.
Here's the thing, though. They don't need just 1 or 2 offensive linemen.
They need all 5.
They need all 5.
They need all 5.
They need a tight end number 2. If Uzomah didn't play, they wouldn't even have him.
You know who wants to be tight end number 2 there?
Who?
Gronk. He said he wants to go play with Burrow.
I doubt it. I think he's going to retire.
I agree. My thing with him is with the retool of the offensive line, you're saying all 5. I agree, because when you have freaking Isaiah Prince, who's an Ohio State grad, playing right tackle, who was burned at Ohio State, he was terrible, and he's starting for the Bengals. That's a little bad. Let's talk about a little bit about our NFL season recap.
Very fun season to watch,
Who are your surprising teams?
My surprise teams? Surprised that they did good or surprised that they did bad?
Let's go good first.
I think the Bengals were a big surprise to everybody. I didn't think anyone thought they were going to win 10 games. I think everyone thought the North was going to be a little bit down. The Dolphins overachieved, I think, this year. They ended up going 9-8. We're in the playoff position. Let's see. Steelers. I think a lot of people thought the Steelers were going to lose more than what they did.
No, I thought they were going to be a 50-50 team, so I had them where they were.
I mean, I don't think anyone had them go to the playoffs, really. And, they managed to squeak in on the last day, on the last second.
I agree on the Bengals. I agree on... What was your second one you said?
The Dolphins. The Ravens, I think, overachieved a lot this year with Jackson in and out. They were in the playoff position for a long time.
I don't think they overachieved.
I do. I think they should have lost way more games than what they did.
I think that was a phenomenal coaching job because they had half their team on injured reserve. I mean, when you lose Dobbins and you're going to literally 4-string running backs who are playing football.
I mean, imagine if we would have lost that final game to them. They would have been the ones that got slaughtered by Kansas City.
Oh, I know.
That's why I said that. I think they overachieved.
Yeah.
The 49ers, I think they did a little bit with
But what can carry the 49ers is their defense. I mean, their defense is solid.
And guess what? With Trey Lance playing there next year, we don't know what we're going to get. I really think they're going to light it up for 1 year, 1 or 2 years, and then that's going to be
terrible.
I don't think anyone expected the Cardinals to be as good as what they were. When did they start the season? Was it 8-0, 9-0?
I could see that though. I mean, the reason why they were so successful is James Conner was healthy for a while.
And I don't think anyone saw Tennessee going 12-5 with all their best players in and out of the lineup all year. They lost Derrick Henry. What was that week? Like 7?
7. I would say the people like Tennessee surprised me. People that really frustrated me are the Packers because they failed again. The Cowboys just can't figure out how to win a playoff game.
Nope.
Which is sad.
Until Jerry's kids take over, that's when that team will start winning again.
Yeah, that's probably about right. I'm trying to think who else. The Colts. I mean, Carson Wentz is garbage.
But you know what? He still had a phenomenal year.
I know. But I think he's the reason why they weren't in the playoffs.
They were the reason why they were in the playoff chase?
Why not? I'm saying he was the reason why they did not make the playoffs.
I don't know. I mean, they have Michael Pittman Jr. Who else do they really have?
You get the best running back of football.
I'm talking about receiver-wise. I mean, Jonathan Taylor carried them most of the year.
I mean, you got talent, though.
I mean, you got Pittman. T.Y. Hilton, older. They should have let him go, I think, to Philadelphia or San Francisco this past offseason.
I guess you're right. Pittman had 88 catches, and the next person was Taylor with 40.
I mean, you really don't have any receiving threats. I mean, I think if they decide to keep Wentz for another year or two, that's okay. I think we'll get him to the playoffs.
I don't think he's going to be back.
But
I think they're going to let him go. If they...
good luck finding someone to take that cap hit.
No. They can release him.
They have to pay him an extra $7 million. They were just sitting on ESPN this morning.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Some person would probably take it on because it's going to be a zero cap hit for them. It's complete dead space. Yeah, I don't know. Let's talk about a little bit in the recap. And I didn't tell you this, but I was listening to The Fan yesterday, and they were talking about the big changes in quarterbacks. About who's leaving, who's moving, whatever. All the different quarterback changes.
There's a huge list of quarterbacks that might move and quarterbacks that are going to move.
So we're going to write this down in the studio today, and we're going to kind of pick who we think's going to go where. So
this will be good.
All right, so I'm going to start in the NFC. Tampa Bay needs a new quarterback.
Tampa Bay needs a quarterback. Let me bring up a list of all the teams here, and we'll see who just needs a quarterback.
Washington. Heineke's not going to come back and start for them. Carolina.
I think they said they're going to go with...
I can see them drafting Sam Howell, but we'll talk about it. And AFC East, they're fine. Zach Wilson will start at the Jets. I'm sorry, we're in the NFC.
Eagles need a quarterback.
No, they're going to start Hurts. I'm not going to put the Giants on here because I think they believe in Daniel Jones. Let's say that
I think this is the last year for both those guys. Jones and Hurts. I think that this is it.
Let's say the Packers and Aaron Rodgers do not make up. He leaves.
Detroit needs a quarterback. They're going to go with Goff, but they need a quarterback.
They're going to leave Goff there.
Denver.
No, hold on.
Oh, we're on NFC.
Saints.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say Kyler stays, but Russell does not.
So Seattle need a quarterback.
Seattle need one. All right, let's go to the AFC.
Let's start the north.
We're going to go east, north, south, west is how it's on my phone.
Okay.
East, nobody's leaving.
No, everyone should be okay.
The north, Steelers.
Browns.
No, I say Mayfield's going to stay. Who else? No one's going to want him, and they have to trade him. South, Houston.
Mm-hmm. I think Watson's as good as gone.
Indy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wentz is gone. The West, Denver.
That's it for the West.
I see the Raiders keeping. I don't see the Raiders losing Carr.
So, yeah. I think there's still a good chance of it happening. Everything that they've been talking about, they're leaning towards keeping him, but it just depends.
Right. So our list is
the new not ownership, the new coaches and stuff, and they're going to see what they like.
So our list is a little bit different. I think they had 8 yesterday. We have 10. Okay. Let's pick some obvious ones that we think are going to go places. In my opinion, I have Aaron Rodgers going to the Broncos.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what I think. I think Elway's... It's looking like how it did when they brought in Peyton Manning. They have everything in place. They have the receivers. They have running backs. Mm-hmm. They have the offensive line. The defense is good, not great, but it's good enough to win a Super Bowl.
Agreed.
So, A-Rod to the Broncos.
Okay, we forgot one. 49ers technically have a new quarterback. So 11. So let's take the obvious ones. Jordan Love will start at the Packers.
Yes.
And
Lance is going to start.
Lance will start at the 49ers. Okay. You want my hot take?
What's that?
Jameis Winston's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
I don't know. I would really call that hot. I know there's a lot of traction behind it.
I don't think it should happen, but I think it's going to happen. Or this splash hire with Deshaun Watson could bring Deshaun to Pittsburgh now. He wanted to play with Brian Flores.
It could. Flores has talked about wanting Watson. It's part of the reason why they say he got worked out of Miami a little bit, because he said, Tagovailoa is not my guy, which, let's face it, he should have never played football again after breaking his hip or whatever happened. It could. I don't see Watson coming to Pittsburgh. A guy like Garoppolo I could see coming to Pittsburgh. I heard the 49ers asking price isn't too high. I heard a third and a player is what they're looking for.
I don't want to go draft capital for Garoppolo, though. I'd rather just stay with Rudolph.
I think Garoppolo has 2 years left on his deal, so I'd give up a third and chase Claypool instantly, because I don't like Claypool
I know you don't.
At all. And I don't think a lot of people around here do.
Okay. I have the Redskins, football team. What are they called? Commanders. I have them drafting somebody.
That's what I'm thinking, too.
I could see them drafting.
I wish the Wi-Fi was working good in the studio today. I cannot bring up nothing on my phone.
What are you looking for?
I was going to look at the draft order.
I had it on mine. Hold on.
I meant to screenshot it before we got in here today, and I forgot.
We can go to the old-fashioned computer real quick.
Yes, we can.
Oh, that won't even pull up.
I know. That's what I'm
My
like.
Wi-Fi is just not doing well today. Okay. Well,
because I was looking at it the other day, because someone was arguing at work saying Pickett's going to fall all the way to the Steelers, and there's a chance.
I don't think so.
It's not a good chance, but it's a small chance.
What if I get it on the NFL web, on the ESPN app?
That's what I tried bringing it up on, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't get it up. But I think there's a handful of teams in front of the Steelers that need a quarterback or a quarterback of the future.
Here we go. Jaguars, Lions. I don't see the Lions taking.
Okay, let's go. Let's name the team, name the pick in the team, and we'll say quarterback or no quarterback.
Jaguars, no.
No quarterback.
Lions, no. Not at 2.
No, not this year.
Texans at 3, no.
No, I think they're gonna. I think the Deshaun Watson trade's gonna come post draft.
Jets, no. 4.
No.
Giants, 5, no.
No.
Panthers at 6.
Maybe.
Giants at 7 again, no.
No, I don't think
Falcons at 8, no.
No.
Broncos 9, no, because they're going to go after A-Rod. Jets 10, no. Washington at 11.
Yes.
That's where I think. And I could see them taking Willis, hometown kid, or Pickett, one of the two. Vikings at 12, no.
Maybe. They're saying Kirk Cousins might be on the block.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I heard Kirk Cousins, Pittsburgh, a little iffy.
13, Browns, no. They're going to draft Garrett Wilson. 14, Ravens, no. Eagles 15, no. Eagles 16, no. Chargers 17, no. 18 to the Saints, could be.
And then who's picking 19?
Eagles.
Again.
I just don't see. I have a pick who I want to talk about, and we'll finish this kind of topic. All right, so let's just keep pulling these around. So we're going to say Washington's going to draft one. Let's just say they take Willis. Okay. Let's say Carolina took Pickett before they took Willis.
So you have Corral and you have Howell. left.
I don't think either of them start next year.
No.
So who do you have? Who do you think goes to Tampa?
Do you want me to answer that honestly?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to go on the Washington sweepstakes.
You think so?
I absolutely think so. You know what? He's still young. Evans is young. They're probably going to see if they can put Godwin on a bargain deal because he blew out his knee mid-season.
Okay. Let's leave him there. Let's go Watson to Tampa. Okay, so that leaves us with the Saints, Seahawks, Steelers, Houston, and Indy. So Wentz has to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And Wilson has to go somewhere.
I heard Wilson's relationship with Seattle is very stable right now.
You want to keep him there?
They're okay with him.
Let's leave him there. Say he's stable.
The past few years, they've kind of taken his advice on drafting guys, and the guys have panned out a little bit for the most part. I think this year he's going to be like, hey, center, tackle, guard. First 3 picks. That's it.
What if the Saints would get in the sweepstakes with... What if the Saints and the Indy would... Is he a free agent? Well,
who?
Winston.
Yes. I think he's going to go back to New Orleans, take a bargain deal. Got hurt early in the season. I think it was against Tampa Bay. He got hurt.
I think something different. Indy's going to probably trade or cut Wentz. What if Wentz ends up down there?
Wentz with Peyton could be some success. NFC South is wide open right now unless
he has
Tampa gets a quarterback. If Tampa gets a quarterback, I think it's tied up with a pretty little bow saying to Tampa Bay.
And then I could see Indy taking Winston. Just a flop.
I mean, maybe. From what I understand, Winston loves Sean Payton. Sean Payton loves Jameis Winston. They're very familiar. You know, they played against each other for 4 or 5 years.
As you guys can listen to us today, I mean, there's so much parity that's going to happen with this quarterback race.
There's a lot of parity that's going to happen for the offseason. There's a lot of teams that need 2 or 3 pieces, and they're a Super Bowl contender.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple teams that need just to draft some guys, and guess what? They're going to be a Super Bowl contender in 2 or 3 years.
I just think this quarterback race is very. It could get very.
And we're not
impressive.
even mentioning all of them. Like, we're saying Carr's going to be saved. We don't know that. I mean, tomorrow morning we can wake up and Derek Carr could be a verbal commitment trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Houston Texans. We don't know.
So you have Jimmy G starting in Pittsburgh?
If I think they are all in, and I mean they're pushing all their chips to the middle of the table, saying we're going to give up as less as we possibly can, I think they trade Claypool and their 3rd round pick. They bring in Jimmy G. They bring Smith-Schuster back on a couple year, like a 2-3 year deal maybe. He comes back, even though it's looking like he's out the door already. So you have Johnson and Smith-Schuster. You're going to have Freiermuth still. You're probably going to draft another receiver or sign some guys. You have the 3rd most money to spend.
Here's where I would love to see a couple things, though. I really would just... I hate to say this. I'd rather us sign a free agent, like Marcus Mariota.
No, I've seen enough of the Mariota show, and I love Mariota at Oregon. Pulled from to win the national championship against your Buckeyes that year, just because everyone loves Mariota. He has that personality. My issue is I've seen enough of that.
We need draft capital. I don't want to waste a 3rd round pick.
I mean, I don't either. But I mean, if you're gonna go all in on your defense and they're still as good as advertised, face it. I mean, they might cut to it or say, hey, like you're retiring or we're trading you, or we're cutting you. Pick one.
I have a new draft pick at 1st round, number 20, that I'd like the Steelers to take.
I do too.
Who?
Matt Corral.
No.
Yep.
No. If Lindenbaum's not there, because we need a center, what have we not had for many years?
Oh, there's a lot of things.
What have we not had for many years on the defensive side of the ball?
Nose tackle.
Yep.
Since Casey Hampton retired.
Yep. Jordan Davis. He can move. He's huge. He can tackle. He can play in the 4 technique. He can play in the 3 technique. He can play nose tackle when we're in the 3-4 base. When we go to a 4-2 and throw the nickel out there, he could play right alongside Cam Hayward. They're similar. He's bigger, but he can move for being 300-some pounds.
I mean, he can. I mean, Tomlin's draft grade from out of Georgia is awful, thanks to Jarvis Jones, and a couple other small name guys. I don't take the chance. I think Corral fits the Steeler way. I think if he can sit behind someone for a year or two,
my issue with Corral though is like he's a big RPO guy. Can he make that step into the NFL more?
I mean, hey, that's what the NFL is changing into, a lot of his RPOs.
It is, but it's not too. Like,
I mean, Tomlin wants a guy that's mobile. Corral is mobile. Corral is a gunslinger. He loves to throw the football down the field. We saw it a lot this year at Ole Miss. They should have beat. Mm-hmm. They should have been playing.
I'm not doubting on Corral. I don't know if he's worth a number 20 pick. I think he's like a 32, 33 guy.
That's why I think they're going to trade and get someone, either like Jimmy G or something. Or if they really want to go all in, go after Derek Carr. He's still on the younger end.
If they can convince him not to go back to the Raiders.
I mean, hey, they might just call the Raiders and offer him something they can't refuse. I mean, I think the Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson is a pipe dream here, as long as as well as Deshaun Watson. I think it's all a pipe dream.
Because those three players have to have more draft capital that we don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't afford to give our first-round picks for the next 3 years like the Rams.
No.
We're just not that solidified.
No, and this all comes back to Tomlin being a crappy drafter.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been. I mean, he's had one or two drafts that have hit, and they've been good. The Watt and Juju Smith-Schuster draft was good just because of those two players alone.
This year's draft was okay. Okay.
I can't even remember who we drafted.
Well, Harrison Freiermuth.
Oh, Harrison Freiermuth. Those two just made that draft instantly. It was kind of like Watt and Smith-Schuster.
But the third round pick was stupid with Kendrick Green.
I think it was good, but they just need to play the guard. Mm-hmm. I mean, you need to suck it up. The guy's a guard. He told Roethlisberger he's a guard. Roethlisberger told Tomlin and Matt Canada he's a guard.
Yep.
And yet you're going to play the guy at center.
Let's kind of transition to our way too early 2023 Super Bowl picks. We're similar. We have the same NFC team.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do. Oh, no, we don't. You went a different direction. Never mind.
Yes. I think I said the one, and you were like, oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Bills come out of the AFC. I think they're going to be right there. They fix 1-2 small things.
They do. They have one big thing they need to draft, and I think they have the team ready to go.
What's that?
A running back. They need a running back.
Yeah.
Single carry is not good. Yes, no. I said single carry, not Singletary.
I know.
And is it Devin Moss? No, Zach Moss.
Zach Moss.
Who I wanted the Steelers to draft a few years ago for a nice third down receiving back, isn't the answer.
You know who I'd like to see be the running back there?
Leonard Fournette.
Nope. He already plays in New York. Your boy. Penn State, born and bred.
I don't think that's going to happen.
He's out of New York. He's out of the Giants. They will trade him. Guaranteed.
I think they trade him just because they feel bad personally for him. Because, he's just that outstanding of a person. But I think he's going to play there this year, and then next year they're going to,
But you're right, though. If they get a running back, even draft one, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of draft capital on running back out there.
No, there's not. That's why I said they're going to sign Fournette to, a 2-year deal. We have everything in place. The defense is great. Offensive line, great. Josh Allen is probably one of the best quarterbacks right now in the NFL. Beasley. Who was the guy that caught all 4 touchdowns against the Chiefs? Last name was Allen or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And no one's even heard of him.
Emmanuel Sanders is there.
Emmanuel Sanders, he only signed a 1-year deal. We'll see if he comes back.
Right.
If not, a wide receiver 3 is kind of easy to replace.
I think they're right
Dawson Knox. Awesome. The Bills are right there. It's a good pick.
And then I have the Rams coming out if they can bring back all their pieces. I think the NFC is way too wide open.
That's a big thing if they can bring everyone back. I think the AFC is kind of wide open too. I mean,
I don't think so.
Chiefs are going to be good. Bills are going to be good. Bengals are going to be good.
I think there's too many. Well, what I'm saying is, I think there's too many contenders in the AFC that can go a lot of different directions. The NFC,
that's why I'm saying it's wide open because you're number 1 through 6 seed in the AFC.
Yeah, I guess
you know what I mean. That's how I mean. It's wide open.
Yeah.
The NFC, I mean, it's wide open because I mean, if you get 10 wins next year, you might be the first seed. I mean, who knows? Mm-hmm. But no, AFC. I'm taking a chance here on both these teams.
Okay.
If this team can stay healthy and they can fill the couple patches they need to fill, they're going to be awesome. And, they're going to play hard in the AFC West. The Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert, everyone loves him. Good kid. Fun to watch at Oregon. Won a Rose Bowl.
Good running back in Eckler.
Good running back. Good receivers.
Good receivers.
Williams and Allen. Allen's kind of becoming the ageless wonder. He's been in the league, 8 or 9 years now. Still doing it.
Offensive line's not bad. Their front four in the defense with Bosa's there.
Bosa needs to stay healthy. Derwin James needs to stay healthy. They maybe need to draft a cornerback.
They need to draft some linebackers.
They need to draft some everything. Well, they took, what's his name recently? Kid from Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. Kenneth Murray?
Yes.
Yeah,
Kenneth Murray. He's one of the 2 or 3 leaders on that defense.
My issue with that team is their run defense is terrible. I don't understand.
And that's what they need to fix. Their pass defense isn't bad. Maybe draft a cornerback, maybe draft a linebacker, and maybe a defensive tackle to play alongside Bosa. That team's right in it.
Well,
2 or 3 pieces.
Well, Joey plays more outside than Nick does.
I know. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They need to draft a defensive tackle to play in the middle.
Jordan Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
NFC, like we just talked about, it is wide open. And right now, if everything would stand the way it stands, and let's just say LA brings back one of those guys, not all 4 of them, 5 of them, whatever it is, you look at the Dallas Cowboys, they're bringing everyone back.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is coming back. They have some minor guys they're going to lose, but here's the thing. You can't trust them in the playoffs. That's why
I couldn't pick them.
This is our way, 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 way too early Super Bowl picks. But, we talked about it when we were making our playoff picks. If you wanted to talk most complete teams in the playoffs, and we agreed, it was the Cincinnati Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys.
But they can't win games.
The Dallas Cowboys can't win games. The Cincinnati Bengals couldn't win games. And, luckily they have some leaders now on that team. Joe Burrow, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. He's really the heart and soul of that team, I heard all week. From media days until the Super Bowl last week.
I can see the Cowboys if they can figure out how to win a game.
Like I just said, they're not going to win anything until Jerry's out and his kids are running that team.
Well, so here's my question to your AFC pick, though. So, if Denver gets A-Rod,
that's the best division of football. What if Carr stays in
that's what
Vegas?
I mean, you almost, it's never happened before. You could have 4 playoff teams out of that division.
You could. Heck, 9 and 8 will get you in the playoffs now with the 7th seed, which is ridiculous.
That's what I mean. With 7 seeds, you can get all 3 wild cards out of
West.
But think about it. Who else would you have? I don't think the North puts in more than 1 team.
No, unless,
the South,
for some reason the Browns are as bad as what we're thinking they're going to be, and we're not around a 500 team again. It could be the Bengals and the Ravens, maybe, but I don't see that happening.
The South's only going to have the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Unless the Colts get a quarterback. And I don't see the Patriots getting back there.
No, I can see the Patriots making the playoffs again. I think
they'd be fighting you against that 3rd or that 4th team from the West.
Mm-hmm.
The problem's going to be they're going to have to win every other game other than out of conference.
What divisions is everyone playing this year? That's that's going to determine a lot. You know what I mean?
I don't know who the West has, and you got to win every other game.
I know, we're playing the NFC South.
Are we?
Yes, we are playing the NFC South. I know that, but I saw Tampa Bay on the schedule.
That's huge.
Because it was in Pittsburgh, and I was hoping Brady would come back so I could go back down one last time and see.
That's huge, because that's the most wide open division.
That's as long as, Tampa doesn't get a quarterback.
We could easily win all 4 of those games.
Depending on who our quarterback is.
Mm-hmm.
If we're rolling out there with Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins, we're not winning more than 5 games.
Dwayne can get us there.
No.
Dwayne can get us to the promised land.
Quit picking because he's an OSU alumni. Quit picking.
Promised land. All right. Let's talk about this hiring yesterday. Brian Flores. Huge.
There was 2 hires this offseason I really liked. For a head coach, and just this because we got the big fish. I love Doug Peterson at Jacksonville. I think he's going to get Trevor Lawrence on track. I think he's going to bring guys back.
100%.
Look at that defense the whole time he was in Philadelphia. Outstanding. They went all in to win 1 or 2 Super Bowls. They got one, and they canned them for basically disassembling the whole team. Now, Brian Flores, he should have been the guy going to Denver. Should have been the guy. They need a quarterback. They could have got Watson.
Or the guy going to... Who's he number 2 for? The Texans.
Oh.
He was right behind the guy they hired. Or, no, I'm sorry, the Saints, too.
Yes.
He was in line for the Saints job.
Yes, and so was Eric Bieniemy, but he's decided to, one more year in Kansas City.
I think Andy Reid is creating a problem for him. I don't know why. I don't know. But I think this is the huge splash hire that the Steelers coaching staff has been waiting for. That he can fix a lot of things. He has one major project. And that has to be fixing Devin Bush. If he can fix Devin Bush, then he can fix a lot of things.
I think a guy like that can bring out the most in Devin Bush.
Right.
We were talking. I don't think we were recording yet. When he was in New England, he has a future Hall of Fame middle linebacker.
Dante Hightower.
Who was going to be, if everyone remembers, the year the Steelers lost the AFC Championship to New England?
Yes.
Super Bowl 51 going into that Super Bowl. Hightower was a free agent. Coming to Pittsburgh. It's a done deal. All of a sudden, he comes back to New England because they bring back Brian Flores.
So, Michael Beck, who's a guy on Twitter, tweeted this yesterday. And I want to talk about this. Free agents that have played for Brian Flores that will be available on the market this year. J.C. Jackson.
Cornerback.
Stephon Gilmore.
Cornerback.
Dante Hightower.
Linebacker.
Mike Gesicki.
He's a free agent already.
Yes.
Wow.
Emmanuel Ogbah. Will Fuller. Jason and Devin McCourty. James White. Jamie Collins. Matthew Slater. I could see the Steelers getting 2 of those.
I'd like to see them bring in a guy like James White. I think that helps out a lot.
I'm not even thinking him. I'd love to see him bring in Stephon Gilmore.
You're talking...
I want Gilmore and Hightower. Big B.
I don't want a Hightower. Older now, went through some injuries.
Who do you want to be sitting next to Devin Bush? You want Schobert to come back? I don't. He didn't do anything.
They're not going to take that cap hit. They have money to spend. I think they'll draft a guy and he'll play.
I really want to see them fix Devin Bush. I think Brian Flores is the guy to do it. And I think that's why he went after him. And I think he's, like you said, defensive coordinator in 2 years. And or Mike Tomlin's replacement when Mike retires.
It depends.
If they can keep him on staff, that's going to be hard.
Anyone that knows anything about Mike Tomlin, his son played for Maryland. He transferred. I can't remember where he went to. Mike Tomlin's waiting to get him into the NFL. He doesn't. I don't care if it's on the Steelers practice squad. He's in the NFL. It's all that matters. He's going to get paid. He'll be able to take care of himself and his family. Mm-hmm. That's what this is all about. I think Mike Tomlin knows he's on the way out. But if the Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to go all in this season, they're spending every dollar they have. They're using all their draft capital on positions that need to be played.
Boston College.
That's right. He went right up the road from Maryland to Massachusetts.
Yeah, not that far.
But, I mean, it's going to be a fun off season. There's a lot that can happen at the draft. Like, look at the Eagles. They have, 4 first-round picks?
Yeah.
So, I mean...
I think they could be a big surprise in the East if they can get 4 good players.
I mean, who knows? They might keep 2 of those and trade the other 2 away and get a lot of second-round picks, a lot of third-round picks, for the future. Like I said, we don't know what Jalen Hurts is going to be. I personally think he's on an NFL quarterback. I think me and you said the same thing when he was at Alabama and Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Great college quarterback. I'll take him on my team in college any day of the week.
Yeah.
But...
I'm interested to see, can he at least bring in one big name?
Excuse me, that's gonna it's gonna be fun to watch because you already have Devontae Smith. Mm-hmm. You have the Slim Reaper. Jalen Reagor, bust. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, bust out of Stanford. They have no wide receivers besides Smith. They traded away the tight end. Can't remember.
Ertz. Which...
Traded away Ertz.
He was at the end of his career, so I wasn't against that.
No, you still have Dallas Goedert, who's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. We're going to be getting into mock drafts here. We're going to have a couple weeks off here in the Disney World for a few weeks.
Yep.
But it's going to be fun to watch. I think maybe our first show. Will the Combine be over our first show back?
No, I think the Combine's in late March this year.
So it's going to be that weekend when you come back that following weekend.
We got time. Hold on. NFL Combine.
Because I know it's in March.
Let's see.
Well, free agency starts in March too.
I think I'll be back for the Combine. Yeah, I can't find it.
I don't know. There's a lot of quarterbacks out there that could be on the move. We named some: Rodgers, Wilson, Carr could be on the move. Garoppolo, Murray could be on the move. We don't know. Depending on what his stance with Arizona is.
The Combine. You're right. It's when I'm in Florida, so we'll talk about it after we get back.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a lot to talk about that weekend because it's the negotiation period for unrestricted free agents, and free agent deals can be signed on the 16th. So we'll have a lot of that
the first 3 or 4 days of free agency is when all the big moves are already made. We might have to try to put like a NFL Network on my MacBook in studio to see we can get breaking news. And we never really had breaking news before.
Right. So I mean, there's a lot of things coming up soon, and I think it could be a very exciting off season.
Mm-hmm. We have March Madness coming up.
Yeah, I mean that show is going to be huge because if we record on that Sunday the 13th, that's Selection Sunday. So I think
is that an all day? I can't remember. Is that an all day affair?
No, it starts at night. It's like 6 o'clock. So we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about that day. We'll have a lot of stuff to talk about for NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go into my spring sports preview for my teams because I start practice on the 7th. So it's kind of good that today's show is a little shorter because we're going to really jam-pack the next one.
Yeah, we got the next 2 weeks off.
Hopefully we'll be back in studio in 2 weeks and I'll be able to talk more about myself a little bit, talk about an exciting spring and upcoming seasons for me, and really dive into some good stuff.
You might have big news coming up when you get back.
I mean, hopefully the big news is going to be that my team's ready to roll. That's where I want my big news to come out of. I want my team to get ready to go. We're getting close. We're 2 weeks away from start of practice. We're going to be in the gym tomorrow morning. So, ready to roll. But anything else you want to talk about today?
What are you thinking for your team this year? You guys going to the playoffs? Or
we should. So, number one in our section is Frazier. They're a lock. They're going to win the section. They will go.
They're always good at baseball and softball. Always. It's kind of just tradition.
My colleague Donnie Hartman, he's got a loaded team. Last year, they went undefeated in the section, and they lost one senior starter. Truly, kind of two. The one senior that really contributed offensively, she was a great bat for him, but they got better. They added some freshman talents, like his going to be probably his third baseman is legit as a freshman. His younger daughter is coming in as a freshman. They have another sibling of their one star infielder, the freshman, coming in. So they're loaded. 2, 3, and 4 in our section. Last year, 2 was Charleroy. They lost their star pitcher. They have some internal pieces they got to figure out. 3 is Carmichael's, or they might be 2. I forget how that ended up shaking out. Carmichael's lost their star pitcher, who was a senior. They lost a couple infielders as seniors. So they got to reload. Then it's me and Bentworth that were tied for 4th. So I see us still in at least 3rd or 4th place. I really want to steal a game from Carmichael's or Charleroy to kind of make us up to 3rd. Mm-hmm. And I think it's possible. But we got to work. I mean, I have to replace my starting shortstop, my starting third baseman. Well, second/third baseman. I moved her to 3rd in the end of the season. And I had to replace my first baseman / my designated hitter. And then I need to replace one of my outfielders.
Jeez, so it already sounds like an uphill battle for you already.
But it's not, though. Some girls have stepped up in the off season. So we'll see. But softball is won or lost on the mound. So if my sophomore pitcher can throw strikes all season long and be effective, then we're fine. But we'll talk more about that next show. So, for Brennan and for Dave, we will be back in 2 weeks. We will record on probably March 13th, that's Sunday. And we'll be back. So,
all right, Dave, have fun in Florida.
thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for listening. For the latest updates on this show and what's going on with Limitless Sports with the BD team, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube page and follow us on Facebook.